Alright, how's it going, everybody? What's going on? I'm on a mini treadmill. I'm walking right now. I'm at a standing desk, makeshift standing desk. I'm trying to lose some weight, trying to work on my calories, so that's what's going on here today. Today we're in the frame buffer, and what you're seeing right now, this is a camera representation of what's in front of the camera using ASCII, and it is a program called TUI Cam. And the reason why I'm doing this is because where we're at right now is somewhere called the frame buffer. Now the frame buffer is kind of like what's left after you uninstall everything. You know, when you point and click with your mouse, when you do stuff with your GUI, graphical user interface, you know, you have a mouse, you click and stuff. This is kind of what lives underneath all of that. And it's kind of like the terminal, but probably a little bit more authentic. If you're familiar with Linux or Mac OS or even Windows, you've probably installed a terminal emulator, but there's a reason why they're called terminal emulators, is they're just emulating the terminal. Now this is what the terminal actually is. It's called the frame buffer. It's basically a level below everything else. And due to the restrictions of this terminal, there is no proper graphics library. It's called X11 for those of you who use Linux. There's also one called Wayland, which is gaining more popularity. But there is no real graphics library for the frame buffer, at least not a decent one, because this is how things are represented. But as many of you guys know, I'm a software engineering student. I'm going to school right now. I'm going to school for full stack web development, although I spend a lot of my time dabbling in Linux and in low level. I really like writing in C. I like doing projects low level, although I'm also a fan of, you know, front end, back end, all of that. So yeah, today I just wanted to kind of show you guys what my workflow looks like on a daily basis. I also wanted to explain to you guys where I've been, what's been going on. So we're going to come over here. I'm going to show you guys some pictures. So the past few months, I've had to get rid of my regular office, and I've had to switch to a more hybrid approach, which is why it's hard for me to stream. Haven't been streaming as much. Oops, that's not the right one. It's over here. So this is a van. I own a van now, and I have a little desk set up in the back. It's kind of hard to see. You can see the chair, you can see the back of the van open. Of course, it's not the best resolution. This is another angle of it. I have a monitor, I have my current laptop, and I kind of do that in the back of the van. And so that's kind of where I've been spending a lot of my time recently, up until just this past week, when I was able to kind of move back into the house, conquer some territory again, and I'm on this walking pad, of course, with a makeshift standing desk. But so that's why I haven't been streaming. And just in general, I've been aggressively pursuing my degree. I've been taking a lot of classes, and I've been working really hard at it. So that's why I haven't had a ton of time for like a full-length video. Everybody wanted a setup, tour, everyone wanted to see what I do. For now, we're just going to have to do a workflow tour. I can show you guys my proper setup tour when I get a proper setup back. But that being said, I want to show you guys what's so cool about the terminal. So if you guys have seen my other videos, I did a video talking about Git in the command line, and I got some good feedback on that. And the thing about the command line, if you watch that video, is you understand that the command line is basically a way to interact with your operating system on a lower level. Bash is what's known as a scripting language, if I'm correct. It's not exactly a proper programming language in itself, as much as it's kind of like a call and response type of a language. Now you can string things together and make big long one-liners, and that's totally acceptable. In fact, it's often kind of revered for its difficulty, but a lot of the time with Bash, the language, you're interacting with binaries and other programs, and you're kind of like stringing a bunch of different programs together and using them to get what you want. But I love it. I love it. It's the language of the terminal. It's where I spend most of my time if I can help it. So I'm going to show you guys kind of what my workflow looks like and what some of these applications are that I use on a daily basis. So let's just start with this one. This one's called TUI Cam, and we've already been through it. It represents me, using the camera here in the frame buffer. You see lots of different windows open here. I'm using a program called TMUX. It's basically a terminal multiplexer for the terminal. It's kind of like it takes over one instance of a terminal and it kind of splits it into panes and different windows, and you can jump around all within one actual terminal instance, if that makes sense. It spawns smaller terminals within it. So that's the window manager, sort of the powerful combination I use with the frame buffer to allow me to be productive. So over here on the top right, I use a program called Git Fetch. This shows me my Git statistics, my GitHub. You can go check it out. I'm committing to projects there. This is a kind of a view. Each one of these green boxes is a time I've committed. I like to keep it open. I like to keep track of how often I'm committing. Down below, this is a program called Ranger. It's basically a file viewer for the terminal. It lets you kind of move around. You can check out different files. Extremely useful. I use this one all the time. Down below, this one's called BTOP. It's basically a way to keep track of what's going on. It's like system processing. You can see my CPU usage up top. Down below on the left, you can see my memory usage. Down below that, you can see my internet usage. I'm not really connecting to much of anything right now. And then over there on the right, you see the list of every single program that's running, that's relevant, and you can see what sort of resources it's taking up. So I use these programs a lot to keep track of what's going on my computer. And some people, they prefer the browser, they prefer the web, they prefer a GUI, and that's totally acceptable. But if you'll open your mind with me, I want to show you guys how simple this could be. If you want to ask ChatGPT a question, like what are the macros for an average sized banana? It probably takes, I don't know, you got to open Chrome, you got to go open ChatGPT, and then you ask it, then it responds. There's a few extra steps in there. I'm going to show you guys how I do it from a terminal. We're going to do TGPT for terminal. What are the macros of an average banana? And it loads, and right there's our result. Those are our macros for a banana. And it's just that easy. And that's what I mean when I say that the terminal is a superpower, if you can learn how to use it. If you just embrace it. It's a little bit brutalist, I know. It's a little bit tough to understand up front, but if you're willing to embrace it, it can make things so much easier for you in your life. And just like that, we were able to get a free response using the program TGPT, Terminal GPT. And it's wonderful. You can do TGPT-I for interactive, and it pulls up a chat session. Hello. How can I assist you with your programming task today? How do I sort a JavaScript array in reverse? And just like that, it gives you answers, and it's that simple. And when I'm done with it, Control-C, I can hit clear, and I'm on to the next thing. So, I'm going to show you guys some more. Let's keep going, okay? Over here, I want to show you guys my web browser, what I do for that. You can use a program called Lynx, Lynx, to access the web. You can come down here, and you can look up, I don't know, Nintendo Switch. And you can search on DuckDuckGo, and this is just like a regular web browser. There are results. And you can check all this out. It's wonderful. You can go to the next page, there's Wikipedia. So it doesn't have JavaScript functionality, Lynx, and sometimes that's actually a good thing, because if you're running a low-level system, a low-end system, an old laptop, running JavaScript, especially with all the ads and the pop-ups, might break your system, or it might slow things down considerably. So that's really good for just like a quick Google search or a quick DuckDuckGo search if you prefer, like myself. And yeah, so that's how I manage the web from the terminal. But more than anything, I want to show you guys where I spend most of my time here in the terminal, and that's in my developer environment. So let's go ahead and pull this up. I'm going to show you guys what I do here. So what you guys are seeing here, this is what I use to write my code on a daily basis. And as I said, I'm a full stack software engineer in training, obviously. I have about less than a year left now of school before I graduate with my bachelor's, but you can clearly see the big screen here. This is called NeoVim. It's if you've heard of Vim, it's a text editor for the terminal that works really well. There's a newer version of it called NeoVim, which is modernized, it's updated, it has more icon support, has better color support. And within NeoVim, it also has the opportunity to install like packages, like plugins, like I was saying. There's a plugin that I use called LazyVim, which is kind of like a grand collection of plugins all packaged into one. And that's what I use to get my NeoVim set up ready to go. And it's very, very fully featured. It's like a whole IDE, just like Visual Studio Code or anything else. I've been using it for a couple of years now. You can adjust the color. Let's do Elf. I like Elf Lord. You can adjust the color. You can go up and down. You know, you can let x equal 4. You know, this is JavaScript. Console.log. Console.log x. And like, you can save it, and just like that, we've written our code. Now, of course, I don't want to do that because that's not relevant to my project here, but every time I save it, down below, I have my front end running, it recompiles. I'm using React. Over here on the back end, I'm using PostgreSQL, and you can see every time somebody tries to connect to my database, it gives me status updates. Down here, I have that running in the terminal. Over here on the left, I use Claude. Claude is an AI agent. If you haven't heard of it, it's specifically known to be very good with programming and coding. They have a terminal version. And the thing about full stack web development is you have to be really careful because there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of different steps involved, and you have to make sure that you're not doing things out of order. And so I use Claude kind of as a little assistant to keep track of where I'm at in my project. It's good to kind of bounce ideas off of. But of course, you know, almost always try to write the code yourself because it's important to be able to do that yourself. So I write my code myself, but I kind of use it as a little assistant to kind of keep track of what's going on next. Like right now we're expanding functionality on my front end to integrate my new API that I've written. Actually, we have to install React Markdown. So just right here in this terminal down here, npm install React Markdown. Hit enter, node package manager, npm. You wait, it's loading, and it installs, and there we go. We recompiled. Let's see, 10 vulnerabilities, 3 moderate, 7 high, whatever. The lion ignores critical vulnerabilities in his web's infrastructure. Am I right, or am I right? Anyway, so that's kind of an overview of what I do, how I work on a daily basis. I really love the terminal. I love the frame buffer. I obviously can't use it for everything. You know, sometimes you have to log in on Canvas. If you're a student, you understand. You gotta log in. But I like to use the frame buffer because it's brutalist and it's focused and there's no pretty background, and it's very simple and it's effective and it's ergonomic and it just works. So if you feel similarly, you know, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this. This has just been like a little introduction to how I do things in the terminal. But anyway, so that's that. Thanks for watching, and I'll come out with more videos soon. I'm just kind of locked in right now. Finals week, you know what I mean? But anyway, so that's all. Thanks for watching. See you guys later.